It was nearly 3 a.m. when my phone buzzed, cutting through the silence of the night. I groggily answered, expecting maybe an emergency about work or something minor. Instead, her frantic voice came through, shaking, almost unrecognizable. I don't know what to do. He's here. He's at the house. I didn't expect this. I blinked, trying to piece together her words. My mind flashed back to the text she had sent hours earlier. "You're sleeping in the garage. My boyfriend's coming." At first, I thought it was a joke, some absurd prank. But the panic in her voice erased any doubt. She had planned this, an intrusion, a betrayal, and now she was trapped in her own deception. I asked her to calm down, to explain slowly. She stuttered, words tumbling out faster than I could process. She hadn't expected him to show up so early. She hadn't expected me to be aware, to notice the pattern, to know when she was lying. Her boyfriend, someone I had never met, was now inside the house, and she was begging me for guidance from across town, from the garage where I had been exiled, humiliated, forced to sleep while her life ran parallel to mine with someone else. The anger rose, yes, but beneath it was something sharper: clarity. For months, I had tolerated little lies, late-night excuses, unexplained absences. I had convinced myself to forgive, to trust, to be patient, all the while ignoring the subtle signs she thought I wouldn't notice. Now, in the cold light of her panic, the full picture was impossible to dismiss. She wasn't just careless. She was reckless. She wasn't just dishonest. She was entitled. I stayed quiet for a moment, letting her breathe, letting her feel the weight of her choices. She begged, pleaded for me to come home, to fix it, to smooth over the disaster she had created. I didn't move. I didn't promise. I realized revenge doesn't always need confrontation. Sometimes it's patience, observation, and letting someone feel the consequences of their own recklessness. By the time she hung up, I had made a decision. She would deal with the situation she had created. I would remain outside, distant, unshaken. Let him arrive. Let the truth of her betrayal unfold in real time. Let her panic teach the lesson I could never convey with words. The night stretched long. I stayed in the garage, listening to muffled voices, footsteps, the sound of her frantic attempts to control what had spiraled beyond her. I thought about every late-night call, every suspicious message, every excuse I had swallowed. Each one now echoed in my mind, evidence of a trust that had been repeatedly broken. By morning, the chaos had settled. She emerged, red-eyed, exhausted, humiliated in ways I had no hand in orchestrating. She looked at me, expecting anger, wanting scolding or comfort, some reaction that would normalize her choices. Instead, I was calm, detached, unmoved. I told her quietly that trust cannot survive repeated betrayals. I reminded her that actions have consequences, and she had just experienced them firsthand. The panic in her eyes said more than words ever could. She realized, perhaps for the first time, that her decisions had repercussions she could not control. She had gambled with our marriage, with my dignity, and she had lost. I didn't need to yell, to threaten, or to punish. Nature, circumstance, and her own recklessness had done the work for me. Weeks later, she tried to explain, to negotiate, to reclaim what she had carelessly risked. I listened politely, calmly, and then reminded her that some doors, once opened, cannot simply be closed again. She learned the hard way that betrayal carries its own penalties, and that sometimes the most effective revenge is simply allowing someone to face the storm they themselves have summoned. That night, I slept in the house again, but the memory of the garage, of her panic, of her frantic calls, remained. It was a reminder that trust is fragile, that betrayal can be immediate and brutal, and that consequences often arrive faster than anyone expects. She panicked. She called me, and I waited, silently, while the world she had built for herself collapsed under its own weight.